Okay, welcome to my tutorial on homework 6 right here, and it is on the basal metabolic rate. Okay, so what I will do is I will look at the instructions. Create a class that stores information about an individual, okay, that calculates calories per person in a day, okay, and they gave us the formula. So for women, if the person is a woman, use this one. If the person is a male, use this one. So even from there, I'm like, okay, there might have like a gender parameter somewhere. So I'm just gonna stick back in the back of my mind. Okay, you will need to store a person's weight, height, age, gender, there we go, and level of exercise in the fields. Okay, those are just my parameters. We always need a constructor. And then you should have one method named calculate BMR that will call the male or female BMR calculation based on the gender. Okay. Alright. And then after you perform the basic calculation, apply the following rules to your result. Okay. Alright, this is how I would start it. First, I would look at this and I would say formulas. Well, I need to create this and then this. Okay, so I have all my instructions here. So I'm going to do public class BMR. And I'm just going to initialize my fields first. So that's probably what I'm going to do first. I'm going to introduce my field, and there's probably going to be a name and then weight. So wait, no, I'm sorry, this is the other way around. Private string name, private, I'd use a float for weight, just because they could be like 125.6, and then private, oh, I'm so sorry, these are all supposed to be lowercase. Private, float, height, private. Now for age, I'd probably use integer. Nobody's going to be 22.5 years old. I mean, they could be, but I don't think that's the case. So, oops, now I forgot to put private, char, gender, and level of exercise. With exercise, because here they said, 0 exercises 1 or 3 days. I'm just going to do this as 0 exercise, 1 exercise, 2 exercise, 3, 4. So I'm just going to use an int. So private int exercise. Okay. And what I like to do is I just like to delete this and put it up here and put a comma. If they both have private int, like in this case, or like private float and another private float, you can do it this way, and it makes your code a little bit nicer, which I like. So, okay, I'm done with my fields. When it said you will need to store the weights, the person's blah 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 in fields, I did this. So check mark. I wish I could do that. And a check mark could pop up. Okay, so now what I need to do is, here I would just write Q2, initialize fields. And I would recommend, if you're still having trouble with with like coding these things and like what the heck is a field, what about constructors, I kind of remember it, I don't remember it. Like I honestly, when I like do it like in class, I just really look up like the previous codes and I just pull them up, and like it's a lot of like copy and paste. So I'm gonna do my best to like put like comments on here so you can just kind of like read this, and what I would recommend is just like copy and paste like my code later, and then just go back and reference it anytime you have to like build like something. So yeah. Okay, moving forward, we need to do a constructor. So a constructor is pretty easy because the way I think about it is like, well, public class BMR is like the whole class, and a constructor is just public BMR with no class. But the thing is, you need your parameters, and your parameters should not be the same as this right here. You can't do string name, float, weight, just because it'll just be really confusing for Java, and you do not want to open that can of worms. So just name it something short. So string n, float w, float h, int a, int e, and char g. So those are your parameters, and like always, you have to like connect these fields with your parameter. And sometimes I get confused. It's like, okay, is it n equals name, or is it like name equals n? So the way I think about it is like, I just remember this I just remember this. I'll just comment it right here. I just remember the words first comes first. And what that basically means, what it translates to me, is that, okay, whenever I'm confused on like the parameters, I'll just say, well, which one came first? This came first. So, using this little 3-word phrase, first comes first, I can know that it's going to be name that's first. So name equals n, weight equals w, h equals height. Oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? Height equals h, age equals a, exercise equals e, and gender equals g. Okay, cool. So I'm done. I'm gonna comment this up here and write create a constructor. So this is the first thing you gotta do, and this is the second thing you gotta do. Once you have those two things finished, then you're kind of like, okay, all right, let's play ball now. Okay, I can create this thing. Now, what I want to do though is I want to make an accessor. Yeah. So accessors are cool, just so it's like, show me what this person's age is. Show me what this person's height is. That's like what an accessor is, and it's pretty easy to make. So you just do public get name, right? And all you do is return name. Okay. Now you just do this thing right here for all of these. So I'm gonna copy paste it. Public. I'm just gonna do probably like 2 more, and then you guys can like figure it out by yourself. So return weight. So these are probably the 3 simple things you need to do when you're creating anything like this, and it's pretty important to get these 3 things pretty like sorted out in the beginning of your coding, because like these are literally just like copy paste stuff. Like if you make like 100 objects, you're probably gonna start doing it with this. So it's pretty nice to just get this like down and just like in a way, you don't have to like memorize it word for word, but like memorize of like, okay, I need to do a field, a constructor, and an accessor. Accessor, yeah. So that's how you do accessors. So all right, and then aside from accessors, he wanted us to do a toString method, which he wrote somewhere around here. But a toString method, it's kind of like an accessor, but like evolved. That's the way I think about it. It's like it does the same thing here, but instead of like doing it like individually, it prints out the whole thing. So public string toString. Oh, and I needed to do this too. Public string get name and public int get weight. So yep. Okay. So what do we do here? Public string toString. And then we want to return, and it's just honestly, it's just like name. You could do it this way: name plus gender plus weight plus height, age plus exercise. But the problem is when you return it that way, you'll just get like these. You'll just get a name, and you'll get like M and all that stuff, and you don't really know what's going on. So you wanna like put some strings in there, like name. And then what I would do is I would like do an enter button, and then okay, this is gonna take a little bit, so I'm going to cut this off and just do gender and name. Okay, so hopefully you guys will know what I'm trying to do here. I just do it. I'll just do that so it'll make it nice. So you see what I'm trying to get at. Oh, here I'm just doing plus sign plus n. So then you kind of do this for gender, and you do it for height, weight, and all that stuff. And then when you call this toString method, it'll print out all that information. Okay. So just to reiterate, accessors are just getting one thing individually, one variable individually, and then toString is just printing all of this data out. Okay. Now we're kind of ready to code. So all of this was just kind of like warm up to like set up, you know, that I'm gonna have a BMR person, and like they're gonna have these type of values in them. So So once we did all the, and the accessors and strings were like, let me get this information. So once we did all of this stuff, now we're kind of ready to code. All right, so, okay. The way I approached this was like, all right, well, let me just make a BMR, calculate BMR method, and I'll just do an if statement. Okay, let me write this out. So, calculate BMR method, and then I'll use an if boy. Oh, I can't do tab. Calculate this one right here, like the 66 plus. Else, and since there's no like boy / girl here, I don't really have to do like else if like girl. I could just do else, and I'll say calculate 655 plus. Right? That makes sense. And then at the end of it, I'll just do return what's it called, like A. Here I said this calculation is going to equal to A, else this calculation will equal to A. Oops. So I'm just using A just to simplify it. And yeah, so if it's a boy, and we're going to know this by the parameter here, char G. Okay? So if it's a boy, calculate this. But if it's a girl, calculate this. And I'm like, okay, all right, I got that in my head. And then what I would do usually, I would just go and like write it out. But for here, I think it's better to like code it, like pseudocode it all the way through. So here, then we say like, well, okay, here's the calculations, and then we get A, right? We return A, but it says if you have 0 exercise, you want to get this calculate BMR times 1.2. Okay, so what I would do is I would just do another method that says BMR exercise. Calculates BMR exercise method. Okay, and in this case, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use a case statement here. You could use an if else statement. You know what? I think an if else statement is easier just because it'll be consistent with this one. But you could use a case statement. But I'm just gonna use an if statement. I'm just gonna say if exercise is less than is equal to 0. Let's do equal to 0, right? I will do B equals A times 1.2. Okay. I think this is pretty clear of what I'm trying to do. Just follow what the B is and what the A is. The A is going to be from here, right? It's like, well, if it's a boy and he exercises 0 times, my BMR exercise B is going to be this value times 1.2, right? But if it's a girl, it's just going to be the same thing. It's a girl here and she exercises 0 times, then it's going to be A, calculate 655 plus, or right here, times 1.2. So we could do the other ones too. If exercise goes to 1, B equals A times 1.375. And I'm not going to do the whole thing, but at the end you're going to be like else B equals A times 1.9. Okay, so then I want to return B. And of course, like for me, it's very simple. It's a lot more simpler if it's like, okay, just put in A, man. Because people would put in like, you know, like, I don't know, like calculation of BMR. And it's like, to me, that's so confusing, man. Just use freaking A and like you'll get the point. So if you're still confused of what this A is, yeah, I just think that's like the easiest way I know how to do it. I feel like I'm explaining this pretty clearly in terms of like what I'm getting here. Hopefully hopefully I'm not confusing you with using just like A and B, but that's like the most simplest way I know how to do it. Okay, so are we done yet? Yep. Yeah. So B is going to be the person's exercise. Like it's going to be a number. It's going to be the person's BMR. So B is going to be the person's BMR. We could do this too. We could do BMR equals, maybe that'll be a little more clear. BMR equals and BMR equals return BMR. Okay, so we're going to return this, and then what we're going to do is probably just do a new like a BMR test.java and do this. So new, can I do that? Yeah, okay, and it's saving this. Okay, so here is going to be my test file. I'm going to save it here. So save file as, I already have a BMR, so I'm just going to do BMR1.java. And then this one is going to be saved file as BMR1 test.java. Okay. So here we go. So my test file, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. Public class B. Oh man, I need to change this though, because remember like what he said. This has to equal. This .java file has to be the same as your public class. So it's not a big deal. And then you need your public static void main string args. At this point, you should have this memorized. This line right here in like a test file. If you don't, not a big deal. Just go back to your code and just look at another one. So this is how we create a class. So I have BMR1, B1 equals new BMR, and I'm gonna put in my parameters. And what I like to do is like these parameters, because I'm constructing this, I put it here, paste, and I comment it out. And that's just so I know what my parameters look like. Okay, I know that the first one is going to be a string name, the second one is going to be a weight, so like 140, next one is height, so I'm going to do 100, no, wait, I'm so confused, 100, 150, well I think it's going to be in inches, so let's see, height in pounds, height in inches, so I'm not 150 inches, that's hella tall. So I'm not sure, 68 or something? That's good. Like 70. I just put 70. And then age, I am 20. And then int E, exercise from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna do 2. And then I am a male. Okay. So I'm showing you this last ending just so like when we code in here, you will understand how all of this one goes through, because I think like a lot of times like us computer programmers, when we're first beginning, the hardest part isn't necessarily like the coding part, because the coding part is pretty easy. It's just like once you know what you're doing, what you want to do, it's pretty easy to kind of feel things out. But the hardest part I think is actually thinking about what you're creating, because you'll get like, whoa, what's this calculation, and you'll get stuck on like this, oh my gosh, how do I write this age and year, and you get so like confused on the littlest things. So my main thing is like, if you understand where you're coding at and it's very clear in your mind what you're trying to get at, the coding part will come along a lot easier. I'm not saying like the coding part is like super easy, but it's going to be a lot easier once you know what you're doing. So here's what we got, and then once I created it, I could be like b1.toString, and then it will hopefully go back here and it will be like, well, is there a toString method? Yes, there is. And it will return the name and the gender, but in your case, you're going to write out all of these. But for simplicity's sake and time's sake, I just wrote these two. So it's going to return those two things. And then what we want to do is we want to do this. B1 calculate BMR. And then we want to do B1 calculate, wait, BMR exercise. I think that's what it was. BMR exercise. So this is all he wants us to do. Like, this is it. He wants us to run these things. He wants us to print information. He wants us to calculate BMR, male or female, and then he wants us to calculate BMR exercise depending on 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 on your BMR exercise. So, and then he wants us to show this, and he wants you to make like two or three people. So you could just copy paste this there. Just do like BMR2, just change a couple of parameters, be like Cynthia, Cynthina, and this one could be Jorge. And then you could change the sound, be like female, whatever. See that? And yeah, so this one, Jorge, is gonna be a little shorter, but it's gonna be a little fatter. And that's it. He wants us to do this for B1, B2, B3. Okay. And we will see this in action after we have written it out. So, let's go back to our code. Whew, man, that was a lot. But here we go. Let's calculate our BMR method. Yes. So, how do we create it? We go public. What's it going to return? It's going to return a number, right? So public, I want to say float. Do I want to say float? Yes, I want to write float. Public, float, calculate, BMR. Okay. And then, so we can go ahead and write it, right? If it's a boy. And the thing you got to know about here, this thing here, this initialized field, this whole thing, name, weight, height, age, exercise, gender, they can all, like, any method can read it. You know, like right here plus name, you didn't call it. You didn't say, like, here, string name. You didn't do that because you already initialized it up here. So it's already, I think the word's global. I'm not sure. But everyone can read it. So if the gender is, let's do ladies first. Male or gender equals female, just in case they do caps. You're gonna do, oh wait, but here, see, I almost forgot, you have to initialize the A. But in this case, let's not use A, let's use what the professor used. He used, is this gonna be float RV. So RV is return value. If it was a perfect world, I'd just use A, just because it's so damn easier. But RV. So we would do RV equals, and just write this out. This is female, so 655 plus 4.35 times W. No, we have to write all out. Times weight plus 4.7 times height minus 4.7 times age. Okay? Now, else, you're right, the other one, 66 plus 6.23 times weight plus 12.7 times height minus 6.8 times age. Okay. Close it all out, and here, don't forget to return RV. And the reason why we need to return is because right here we said public float calculate BMR. If we did public void, we wouldn't have to return anything. But we want a float. We want calculate BMR when we run the method to return a float. So that's what it is. So there it is. Voila, like he says in class. Public float calculate BMR. If it's a female, run this. Else, run this. So now we have to make another method, public, and we have to make this BMR exercise method. And if you can already guess, we have to have a float here because we want a number to return here. So public float BMR exercise, right? And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have to call this RV thing right here. We're gonna do float RV return value. You know what? We'll do RV2 because I want you to differentiate this one and this one. They're not the same. We initialized RV here, but it's only open to this scope. So once we close it out, RV does not exist anymore. You can't just do it like, you can't put RV in here because it only exists in this little bubble. So this one's float RV2, and here's a pretty cool thing you could do. You could do float BMR calc or whatever, and you could actually call another method. Calculate BMR. You could actually do that. What this BMR calc variable does now is it's just going to be this thing right here. it's going to calculate all this stuff, and it's going to turn you this value, and you can actually use this number into your BMR exercise. Okay. Okay. So now we do if exercise equals 0, RV2 equals BMR calc times 1.2, and don't forget the F. Okay, does that make sense? I'm like recording this on myself, so I don't know if there's like any questions or not, but I'm following along pretty good, just because I'm like following my own brain. But yeah, I feel like there's gonna be questions here right now, but I don't know what. But okay, I'm just gonna do these two just for sake of like time, and just let's do else. One more else. RB2 equals BMR calc times 1 point, what is it, 9? Yeah, 1.9. Okay. So, oh, we have to close this out. All right. So I'm gonna save it, and now I'm gonna compile it. Oh no, BMR. Oh, it's because they're like, it's BMR, bro, not BMR1. Okay, okay, semicolon, easy enough, F5. Reached end of while parsing. So when that happens, I just add this and see what, okay, public int weight. Oh yeah, it's not an int, it's a float. My weight is a float. Is that it? Gender, oh, we need, that was an assignment operator. This needs to be a Boolean thingy. Weight, height, from double to float. Oh yeah, because 4.35 is a double unless you have an F at the end. So all this needs to be F'd. Okay. And one more. Okay, I think that'll do. What is going on? RV equals BMR calc. Can I find symbol BMR? Oh, I misspelled it. Oh, now I gotta do F here. Okay. BMR. Oh, BMR1. Okay, right here it's BMR1. 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 Missing return statement. Oh, okay. I need. Oh my gosh, I have so many errors. That's why Java is awesome. RB2. There we go. And out of all those many things, I did it. I compilation complete. Compile this one. And I run F2. What did it show me? Come on, show me something. Nothing. Wow, it's pretty. I wonder why it's not printing anything. MR test. Wow, this is pretty embarrassing. Yeah, no, it's not doing anything. Oh, I think I know why. Okay, it's compiling and stuff, but it's like I'm not printing it out. Wow. Great job, Ben. Great job. So let's see if this will help. Let's just try one. F2. There we go. Yay! See? So what I did was I printed out b1.getName. So Java went to b1, which was here. It looked at my parameters that had name. And as we know, this is string name. So it just printed out name. So let's do, if we do b1.toString. Let's see, we've printed out all this stuff. F2, see, bet, name, and the gender is male. Cool. And what it's supposed to do is like you're supposed to print the weight, height, the age, and all that stuff too. So let's see this one. Calculate BMR, my man. And I'm going to copy paste this here. Let me run it. Okay, yeah, see? This is my BMR. Oh, is that right though? BMR exercise. Well, I exercised 2 times, so 1677. exercise. Oh, it's because I did 1.9 because I didn't have a 2. So if this exercise was a 1, right? Compile it and run it. Yeah, it'll be closer to what it is. So this is how much calories I burn every day, I guess, with exercise with the value of 2. And what you want to do is you want to say Ben's. Oh no, you could even better. B1.get name plus Ben's BMR is, and then you save it and compile that, and you run it. See, Ben's BMR is 67.6, and you do. Oh, what happened? I like copied it. Okay, it's not pasting. Now it will. And then exercise BMR. What the heck? Why can't I print anything? Oh no, don't be dumb. I don't know what happened. I can't type anything. What's going on? Oh no, that's the trouble. Why can't I type anything? I'm so sorry. And I deleted my BMR test. Very nice. But okay, alright. But I basically showed you kind of how to get it working. What you want to do is you want to do this with B2 and B3 too. But let's kind of recap. So we first wanted to initialize our fields, which we did here. And remember, your class has to be the same with this one right here. And then after you initialize your fields, you want to create a constructor with the parameters. And then remember, first comes first. So when you initialize your fields, typically your fields will be in your parameters, but it's not always necessarily the case. Well, we can go into that another time. But first comes first, so name equals n, weight equals w, etc. As you can see from here, right? Then you need to build accessors. I built only 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I built 2 out of 6. Oh my gosh, I can't type. It's so annoying. But I built 2 out of 6 accessors, and what I want you to do is, yeah, I can't even type it anywhere. I want you to build all 6, right? And even to string, I only have 2 variables, and I want you to build all 6. So name, gender, weight, height, age, etc., etc. And then here was the 2 functions. We did calculate BMR, and then we calculate BMR with the exercise. This is how you construct it, and like in here is the formulas and the if statements, and you always have to return it. And if we want to return a float, same here. Float RB2, float BMR calc equals calculate BMR. If exercise is 0 times 1.2f, if exercise equals 1, 1.375f, etc., etc., etc. So I know I'm kind of going through it like pretty quickly in terms of like what's RB2 and all that stuff. But as long as you get the idea of like how the if statement's gonna work and like you can write it out like this, you'll be pretty good to go. I'm pretty confident. If you can get to this place right here and start thinking it like this way, this one and this one, you'll be good to go. But yep, let me run it one more time if I can. Oh my gosh, terrible. I don't know what happened. Current document is out of sync with interactions pane and should be recompiled. Okay, let me try it one more time. Oh. Okay, it's honestly not letting me write. So I'm gonna stop my video right there. But yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully I helped.